Do you remember him? What about him? How about this player? If you don't remember them, you skipped out on a season of football because they were some absolute world beaters. For only a season. The term one season wonder gets thrown around a lot, but there are few that performed on par with the best in the league for a full season. They are a puzzling case to understand. How do these players find uncharted form that carry them through a season and never seem able to rekindle the same glittering magic? Whatever the explanation, these players have cemented their heritage in football just a single season of excellence. Let's go on a journey of the best and most memorable one season wonders this century in the Premier League. Jesse Lingard was under contract at Manchester United for 11 years, but never had a season of notoriety. For a long while, everyone forgot that he ages like the rest of us, with fans forgetting that he was no longer a young player with plenty of potential. For the majority of players, to go out on loan is a confidence boosting one with more game time and attention. Although being loaned out on your 10th season at a club is a head scratching moment for anyone. Realising it wasn't going to work out for him at United after a January loan move to West Ham United, Jesse Lingard flipped a switch when he pulled over the claret and blue shirt for the season. Lingard went from the social media celebrity to the fantasy Premier League pick, becoming a hot owner in the popular game, which is the clearest sign that you're on top form on the pitch. Scoring 9 goals and providing 5 assists in 16 league games, the England international was an instant hit with the Hammers fans. Having hit the ground running at West Ham, all logic pointed toward a complete transfer to the East London side. However, newly promoted side Nottingham Forest was splashing cash ahead of their first season back in the Prem of 2022-2023, with Lingard being offered the highest paid contract out of the pack, which finalised his time and one season wonder at West Ham United, as he hasn't ever managed to kick on again. It's easy to forget just how good Andy Carroll was in the first half of the 2010-2011 season. The tall, long-haired forward was unmarkable and unstoppable for Newcastle, scoring 11 league goals midway through the season and earning a big money move to Liverpool. Unfortunately, this seemed to kill off his career, never finding frequent scoring form again. We occasionally saw the odd goal that gained our attention once again, but to a steady decline in retrospect to that one Premier League season of what could have been. Swansea spent just $2 million on Spanish striker Michu. Now revered by football purists, his signing from Real Vallecano in 2012 went down as one of the greatest bargains in Premier League history. His iconic first season with Swansea saw the Welsh club lift a major trophy for the first and only time in their history. Part of the Premier League folklore, you could argue that the term one season wonder was born into common vocabulary after the Spaniards' legendary season, and that ear-twisting celebration was most definitely popularised after his 2012-2013 season. Debuts don't get much better than a brace and assist in a 5-0 win, but a top performing debut isn't uncommon in football. It's the remainder of the season that separated him from the rest. Michu netted 6 goals in his first 8 Premier League games and 13 by Christmas, earning himself a bumper new 4-year contract, which was not necessary come the end of the season. Michu scored 22 goals in 43 games, finding the net against top sides like Arsenal, Chelsea and Manchester United on multiple occasions, while playing for mid-table side Swansea, leaving no excuses for some top league attackers who can't even do it for one of the big 6. Erling Haaland has publicised that Swansea's Michu was his idol growing up, repeating his famous celebration a number of times, and even having the Instagram handle Michu Oviedo 09 as homage to the Spanish striker when Haaland was breaking into professional football. For Michu, the troubles of finding the same 2012-2013 form stemmed from injuries. Unfortunately, his career was plagued with injuries until he finally decided to call it quits by retiring at an early age of 31 years old. While Newcastle are becoming one of the biggest English forces in the Premier League, their foundations of this century were built on some exemplary seasons of strikers that carried them to mid-table positions and even out of relegation battles. Names such as Salomon Rondon, Andy Carroll, Loic Remy and Alexander Mitrovic. However, there was an unforgettable duo that any top side would have dreamed to have back in 2011-2012, Papiss Cisse and Demba Ba. Out of those two names, Demba Ba managed to kick on from his first eye-catching season of Premier League football through a later move to Chelsea when he scored one of the most memorable goals in Premier League history, whereas Papiss Cisse seemed at a loss without his strike partner the following seasons. Papiss Cisse did tally 13 goals from 47 games the following season, but that pales in comparison to his first season scoring 13 in his first 14 Premier League matches. One of those goals being that unique goal against Chelsea that still has fans in disbelief with every replay.
The hidden agendas. Are you alright?
2011-2012 was the Cisse Bar season, as they carried Newcastle to a 5th place finish, which was unheard of since their shining years with Alan Shearer.
No, you've got to see. Just have a look at this.
Saido Berahino's name is probably more remembered for the ill-fated transfer saga of Tottenham Hotspur rather than his one season of wonder. It was the 2014-2015 campaign where he rose to prominence at West Brom and netted a staggering 20 goals in 45 appearances across all competitions. As with any hot-formed English striker in the league, one of the big six came sniffing, and for this hot prospect, it was Tottenham Hotspur. It all seemed to fall apart for him after that campaign when his move to Tottenham fell through. Saido Berahino declared that he would never play for Jeremy Pearce again after the West Brom chairman blocked his deadline move to Tottenham at the 11th hour. He seemed to have completely lost his way both on and off the pitch, having never regained his composure after the failed move and never regaining that stunning form with an eventual move to Stoke City in 2017. Imagine how different Tottenham Hotspur would look if Berahino got that starting role ahead of Kane. Benjani is more of a half-season wonder than a full one. Starting the 2007-2008 season in the blue of Portsmouth, he was in fine form, hammering home a match-winning hat-trick in the 7-4 win over Reading, which remains the Premier League's highest-scoring game. With 12 Premier League goals by mid-January, the blue of Manchester was calling, despite Benjani's resistance to leave. Infamously, Benjani missed not one but 2 flights up to Manchester on deadline day in 2008 in an effort to abandon the move orchestrated by Harry Redknapp. Portsmouth splashed out on Jermaine Defoe as his replacement, which turned out to be a genius switch from Portsmouth and Redknapp, after witnessing Benjani's fall from grace and the new combination of Defoe and Crouch to come. It wasn't all tragic after Benjani switched to Manchester City, scoring on his debut in a 2-1 win at Old Trafford, the first time City had done a double over the cursed neighbours since 1969. But the goals would dry up after that. Just one more all season long, and he would fail to score more than 3 in any other season for every club for the rest of his career. Another debut Premier League season, and the next one-season wonder on our list is none other than Roque Santa Cruz. Blackburn Rovers used to be a stable Premier League side before the turn of the 2010s, even winning the prized English trophy in its 3rd season of existence. Sometimes forgotten about when discussing Premier League one-season wonders, Santa Cruz has to be right up there as one of the biggest. It wasn't just the number of goals that the Paraguayan was scoring, but the importance of the goals too. From an equaliser 3 minutes into his debut, to winning Player of the Month in December, to a streak of 5 goals in 4 matches late in the campaign to help Blackburn claim a second top 7 finish in 3 seasons. Just like a number of one-season wonders, he got his money moved to a bigger club with Manchester City calling, but it effectively ended his career when he couldn't get running again and ultimately loaned back to Blackburn in 2011, where we were only left to reminisce on that one season of magic and what could have been. Amr Zaki joined Wigan Athletic on a 1-year loan from Zamalek for a fee of £1.5 million in 2008 and was electric in his early days in the English top flight. And just the early days. Before Christmas, Zaki had hit 10 goals for mid-table Wigan. However, things would soon turn sour and his failure to return from international duty sparked a row from which the forward would never return. In January 2010, he arrived at Hull City on a short-term loan, but failed to score in 6 league appearances and ultimately retired in 2015 aged 32. What a shame. I'm sure no one on this list wants to be remembered as a one-season wonder, but even with one season of excellence, some of these players have provided leading inspiration for the upcoming generations. Which player was the greatest one-season wonder of all time? Drop a comment with your favourite in this list and why they could only push the boundaries for one season. Thanks for watching, we're always here to give you sport.